What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. We have a guest. I'll introduce him in a few, but thank y'all for listening and for watching on iTunes and Omni Studio and Spotify, and like and subscribe on YouTube. And we have a Man United aficionado, Stephon Howson. You've seen him on a bunch of other podcasts with Rio Live at 5. Oh, I know I said that wrong, but just correct it. And Stretford Paddock. uh, what's going on, fam?
You all right, bro?
Who, me? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You
all
good?
good. Yeah, just hit it wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be. It was only a 2.5 hour drive. We was in Marina del Rey this morning. Now we've just
Oh, okay.
landed. It's 20 to 5. Just landed in San Diego, and it is baking.
I can see the sun in your eye as you do the podcast, which is hilarious. And we just introduced a co-host, regular stand-up comic, Southampton fan, Lee Hudson. Everybody, what's up, Lee? How you feeling, fam?
I'm good. I'm in Hampshire. Hampshire's baking as well. we, had, we had a nice hot day today. Also, just to throw it in there at the top of the pod, I've been tinkering with my fantasy team today. We have a fantasy league for the podcast, and if anyone wants to join that, the code, if you just go join league, it's 38PBXA. I'll chuck it in the comments if you're watching on YouTube as well. But yeah, we've already got a few people in there. Get yourself in there, see if we can beat me and Martin. Martin did better than me last year. I need to change that.
Yeah,
Ian's still not returned after his horror season 2 seasons ago.
It wasn't that bad. It was
Are
only
you
second
playing
to
it all
last.
season? Are you getting your team in and then you're doing it every single Friday, Saturday? Are you getting deep into it like that?
Yeah, when I remember to.
That's the
I
issue.
got some added incentive this year with Saints being back in the Prem as well. Gives me, yeah. I mean, not that I'm going to pick any of our players probably until I realise we're not dog shit. But we'll
I
see.
think a good idea for a fantasy league is, and one I'd absolutely be right behind, is you you do your draft, you do it for the opening day, and then I'll see you at the end of May and we'll find out how we did. That's one I want to see. Not all right picking the ones that are absolutely smashing it like 3-4 weeks in and then changing it every single week. How good is your prediction game? Let's find out. Can you predict who's going to be the fantasy players to smash it before the first week starts, and then see where you go? That's the skill, I reckon.
I feel like that's easy to do, but then there's going to be injuries like Man United, and then that's going to fuck your whole team up. Well, what were you going to say, Lee?
So I like the idea. We got too many nerds who listen to this that will want to tinker with their team, and also Martin 100% would sneakily change his on the sly as well. I know 100% he would do that. So we have to let people make the transfers. But I like the idea because yeah, it's you got to make those bold calls on who the surprises are going to be at the start. Then
Yeah, man.
I know Martin would be like, "Yo, I had Amad Diallo all the time. What you talking about? I picked him on day one." So how you liking? You've been to New York, I mean to LA before, and you've been for the preseason for United. So how are you liking it this time, just being out here?
It's a weird vibe in it because it's preseason, so you shouldn't be putting too much into it. But I think there's a real nice energy about the club at the moment, like a bit of an optimism that the new staff are coming in and doing bits. The the likes of Jason Wilcox and Brailsford, were all present at training the other day, and even though I think that's a real small detail, I think it's a real big thing. Like, I think that's showing support for the manager. They're testing the temperature of what the fan base is like. They're testing the temperature what training is like. Ten Hag looked real relaxed. Ruud van Nistelrooy would look like he was the one that was actually taking the session. Rennie Hart, the new guy, looked like he was the one that was kind of doing a sergeant major role of just kind of cutting about and bollocking people. Like, everything feels like there's a bit of momentum with us at the moment. And then obviously we play against Arsenal and we lose 2 players to injury. Nice one.
Yeah, that kind of hurt, like, to go to the game. And I've seen these players, I saw them like get bought and follow the whole transfer progress, and then watch the first game. What was the first game? We just played. Who did we play before this?
Rosenborg and Rangers before we came to the States.
Right. So I saw the full Rangers one. I missed the Rosenborg one. Let's just go back to the Rosenborg one. Just to give Rosenborg some props. From what I saw, they were extra sharp. I'm not even saying we were bad, but for a team in that league,
middle of the season though for them.
Yeah, it is the middle.
I know, but I've seen United in the middle of the season not as good as that. You know what I mean? Like that was crazy the way they went at us. And I know they're like, all right, we're Rosenborg. We have to play United. This is our time to shine. But it was pretty impressive. Like, I feel like they had a bunch of ringers on that team. I think they were lying about who they really were. But they look good as hell. But yeah, just to see.
Preseason,
go ahead.
I think in preseason, like it was quite a low tempo game, I thought, yesterday between Arsenal and United. What would have happened for United against Rosenborg? Not to sort of mitigate what happened, but maybe to explain it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Before a match, normally, if you're not in preseason, you're not really doing anything apart from like maybe a quick run out, some set plays, but not really doing any sort of a punishing session. United had 2 sessions on Friday before they played on Saturday. And if that was the same ahead of the Rosenborg game, Rosenborg probably didn't have any training before us, are already sharper because they're in the middle of the season. So they probably just treated it like a normal league fixture, whereas United would have been smashing all the players on Friday and potentially even on Saturday morning as well, ahead of the game. So I think sometimes in pre-season, when you go in, they don't look all that sharp. They're already smashed. Like I spoke to one of the players after the Rosenborg game. He played. I'm not gonna drop him in it, but he did play in the game. He didn't play well in the game, and I spoke to him after the game, and he was like, "I did not feel strong. I didn't feel sharp. I felt off the pace." And then I spoke to him again, and he was like, "Yeah, I feel all right again now." And he's played well since then as well. So I don't know if there's an energy level in there, maybe.
Now I'm trying to guess who that was. That's all that did. Yeah, you tell me off the air.
I think the very first game back is always weird as well, and it's weird to do that game against a team who are mid-season. Like the Rangers game may have made more sense, or a game against another team coming into it in the same level of conditioning rather than going straight in with that one. But
yeah, I guess it does help Rosenborg, but just to their credit, they did look impressive. Like they, you think those leagues, they're not playing the same quality football, but has a quality of football in all the leagues across that we used to look down on. Have they gone up just period? Like Rosenborg's a mid-table team in that league. And I was like, we must be playing the top team in that league. There's no way. I was embarrassed for United when I heard later on it was a mid-table team.
Yeah, we're a mid-table team now, pal.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, we are after yesterday because we lost them 2 dudes. Do you have any idea? Do you want to say like how long these injuries are going to be for?
No, there was some of the staff kicking about after the game in the mix zone yesterday, and when chatting to them, they had a bit of a panic in their eye, like, yeah, this is not good. And obviously they probably have had scans now, and there's probably some information kicking out there. I haven't read that information, but speaking to them yesterday, it was before they'd had scans, before they'd found out exactly what was wrong and how long to fix it. But they was both sort of going, they're not going to make the start of the season either way.
Because was it an ankle for Euro and a hammy for Højlund?
Yeah, I think that's the sort of broad brush of what's happened. Yeah, nightmare.
And the good thing yesterday, player-wise, I know for Rasmus, he wants to show the fans and pay back their love, and he got to do that for like 10 minutes yesterday before he got off. So at least he had some confidence, and the fans like, all right, we know what we saw last year. It's there, and now this hurts even more, but at least we saw a glimpse of it. And for him, he's like, all right, the fans are behind me for the beginning of the season. I got that goal off. I terrorized that kid. I gave him a nightmare in public. That kid will never play for
I felt bad for him just going in, trying to
yeah.
find his feet in a first team game, and he got absolutely rinsed on that goal.
Who was the
He got
child Arsenal
Rosenberg.
brought on at the end?
The what?
You don't see the child Arsenal brought on at the end. I mean, like, there's some young players in there, but this one looked like one of the mascots ran on the pitch. He was tiny. I think he played right back towards the end.
I heard you talking about him, so he was right back. Is he the kid Sancho couldn't get by?
No, he was on for 5 minutes maybe towards the end. I think it was a proper token gesture for him, but he looked like a literal child. I'll have to Google it and find out who he was. But there was an actual, like, whose son's on the pitch. Get him off.
Damn. When a ball wanders on the pitch and there's 2 balls on the pitch, it's like, hey, whose player's kid is this? Just wandered onto the pitch. How do you think Sancho played yesterday?
Unspectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Like a pure 5 out of 10. Like, if this is a guy that wants to get a move somewhere, he's not playing like it. And he certainly ain't playing like a guy that's going to be apologizing anytime soon either. So I don't know. There's some bad decisions in United's recent history that need to get undone with a quickness. And just that whole right wing area, just
right.
The clusterfuck that's happened with Mason Greenwood. Realistically, you had £100 million player there that you didn't need to sign Sancho. You didn't need to sign Antony. You didn't need to sign Ahmad. You've got 4 players there, and arguably not one of them has nailed down that spot. And there's probably £300-400 million worth of right winger in there, just not taking the chance to be Manchester United's right winger. Like, if we'd have had a competent sort of football board, at some point when Ten Hag wants Antony, they don't sanction 80 million for him because they're like, well, what about Ahmad? Let's play Ahmad. Or they say, well, what about Greenwood? Let's play Greenwood. Or, you sign Sancho the season before Ten Hag comes in, and then Ten Hag wants a right winger. Who's authorizing that when you've just got £75 million on that? You're devaluing the one that's now not going to play. Like, it's just dumb management from a squad point of view. And now you've ended up with this bloated squad. People say, oh, United have spent £1 billion. Yeah, you're right, we have. But, oh my God, have we spent it badly?
Yeah. But doesn't Sancho want to play on the left? Where does he want to play? Yesterday he played on the left. The game before he played on the left, he said he wanted to play on the left. We needed a right winger. So, like, what did we get him for? What side?
No idea.
I thought he
played on both, and he was good on both. Like, I wouldn't have thought it was a massive drama to play him on the right. His mate Rashford has locked down the left wing spot. Was he going to come and take his spot? Feels unlikely, doesn't it?
Right. What do you think about Rashford yesterday? He got the assist, which was cool, but I saw some of that tentativeness, like on some plays when it comes to like getting a 50-50 or sticking a foot in for something, like something that a Manchester United player, you don't have to ask them to do. They just should do that shit. I see him pulling out of things still. And I think that's the problem with his game mostly last season. I feel like if you're a player, like, just get a tackle in. Just get yourself into the game. If you do something good, even if it's not like traditionally for your position, it'll just give you the confidence to like do more throughout the game. Any win at any point, like, is like, yeah, I'm in this. Let me go. So, like, why is he like, even though he got the assists, how do you think he'll do this year?
I don't know. I shook hands with him last night, but he didn't speak. And I think there's a vibe about him at the moment where he doesn't look happy. I don't know whether that's with himself or with his situation or with the team. I don't know. And I'd be absolutely guessing if I was going to say what I think it is. It's a total guess because I don't know. I haven't spoken to him about anything. So, but I think it's undeniable he's not happy. Now, what the reason for that is, it could be personal, it could be professional, it could be a combination. That isn't a man that looks happy in himself at the moment. And I feel like if he was happy, or if he can fix whatever that drama is, I think you'd see him, like you said, maybe going into stuff a little bit harder. There feels like there's a disconnect between him and the fans at the moment. It's sad because that's a bloke living out all of our dreams. You know, that's a bloke doing what every single person that stood on the Stretford end wants to have done. You know, he's lived our dreams. He's not going to get the respect he deserves because of the era that he's played in. But he's been a really good player for Manchester United. World class, maybe not, but really good. You know, and in eras gone by, you know, the likes of Lou Macari and stuff like that, they're called club legends. You know, I don't know if they've achieved the same things that Marcus Rashford has achieved for this football club, but because he's coming in an era where we're not going to win a league, where we've maybe had the whole Glazer thing hanging over us, you know, I think he's just suffered from a little bit of like cumulative frustration. Like he's been here a long time. Is he the problem? Probably not in the grand scheme of things. But he also looks like he doesn't want to be there at the moment. And I think that goes a long way with fans. You know, he looked sharp at training the other day, but again, he's like quite cold face. You know what I mean? He does like he's relaxed, doesn't look like he's enjoying himself. You know, and then you contrast that to like Lenny Euro. This is the first time I've seen him in the flesh. It's his first training session, or certainly his first open training session. Lenny Euro had to be told to stop signing autographs and to stop taking selfies in the changing room because they were waiting for him. Whereas Marcus couldn't wait to run off the pitch and sort of not speak to anybody. And you think, I know that's not Marcus. So what is it that's causing this with him? Because I don't think that's who he is. Or so something's wrong somewhere. And I don't know what it is, but I think as soon as he gets back to who he is and being happy with himself, I think you'll start seeing a player that can score again.
You think he misses Marshall that much? Jesus Christ. Is it something maybe between the fans, like coming at him at a certain time, maybe when he had the shoulder injury and when the penalty got saved? Because a lot of people in England are saying in the Euros they missed the penalties, but those penalties got saved. That keeper didn't get keeper of the match or the Euros because everybody skied it over the bar. Like he did some shit. Like and then they just be the lucky player of the tournament. So those goals got saved. But maybe it was, does he feel like some of the racist comments came from United fans? You know, I don't know. It definitely doesn't seem like I want to do this for these people. Is that type
he almost
of
looks like he needs a break, doesn't he? From everything, from like literally from everything. Like go Thailand and wear those pants and like stare at a lake and shit. Like,
those
proper
pants.
break. You know,
I thought not getting in the Euro squad would have given him that though. It gave him a summer off.
Yeah, I agree. And I think
have that reset.
He's not really had a summer off since he joined United or broke through at 18. He's been full on ever since, or injured ever since. I agree that maybe it was something to do with the Euros. I think there was something like a sizable percentage of all the online hate to sportsmen is Marcus Rashford. It's like him is accumulatively more than like the rest of the top 10 people that are targeted for abuse. So does that weigh on him? Oh, man, maybe. Who knows? But there is absolutely a disconnect between him and the fans, and you know, I would love to see him repair that.
I'm going to introduce Alex in a minute, but just one more thing off that. You know, when you watch the Beckham documentary, right? And he fouled Simeone, bullshit foul, in the World Cup and got off. Like Alex Ferguson called him and said, "Come back, and we got you." Right? And it was a stronger team. And then, you know, everybody wrapped their arms around him, and then that's the year they won the treble, right? And I know Saka. I think Saka got that love. He's the only one of those three guys that plays for a different team. And you could tell the Arsenal fans like he's always been their guy. You know, Saka is like their version of, and I feel like the Arsenal fans treated him with so much love. And then we just so happen to have Sancho and Marcus, and they come back. And I you know, just on my side, like as a fan, like I don't know, we didn't show him that love like after the Euros. Maybe it could be that like he plays for the same club that protected Beckham, and if he comes back to the club and because the coach like I forgot who Ten Hag was our coach. Who was our coach then? Was it Ali? Like, how could somebody not?
It was 2021.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'd have been Ollie.
yeah, it would have been Ali. So you would think, but I never heard any words from Ali saying. At least back then, during the Beckham days, you heard that Alex Ferguson. Like, I knew somehow that Alex Ferguson had his back. It wasn't just in the documentary. I saw that. Like, we all knew it. So maybe I don't know, Ali. You know, but I don't know. And just the organization structure of Manchester United, nobody was like, "Yo, we got you too," and maybe they had to deal with this shit on themselves and felt like left out. Maybe that's kind of when Marcus shit fell apart, and the club knew he had an injury. He played, and so he's like, "Hey, man, y'all ain't going," So who knows? I want to introduce Alex, stand-up comic. He also lives in California. He's a Man City fan. This is Stephon Howson. You already know Lee Hudson. We're gonna ask Alex if you have any questions for Steve. Throw them in. Either of you. But we're just talking right now about the game yesterday.
I just want to say my favorite moment of the game when I watched it was Andre Onana stepping out the box to just chest down a long ball. I mean, I played as a keeper and I did some wild shit as a keeper, but that was fun. Just fun because he was so calm doing it as well. The way he just came, because like most keepers just have a panic attack when they do anything outside the box. And lose all their composure, but he just stepped out the box and just chested that ball down like it was nothing, which is hands down my favorite moment of that game.
I like that too. I was like, put him in for Maguire. He's way calmer, like on the ball, out the box, without his hands than Maguire. Maguire, it plays in fight or flight, and I don't want to bash Maguire, but he didn't even have the calm of like Amos, who's trapped in a corner. He's being marked by the line and whoever's attacking him. But that kid looked very impressive yesterday. What do you think about him? And was it Collier, the other kid midfielder? Like, what do you feel about those two and the possibility of them like us like putting them into the team slowly?
I think
for this season,
with how Manu burst onto the scene last summer, he had an impressive preseason where he was doing stuff where you go, wow, he's not just playing well for whatever, he's just playing well, period. Like, he's looks like the best player on the pitch. We played Arsenal last year in New Jersey, and Kobe Mainoo looked like the one that has just been bought for £100 million.
right?
I don't think Collier and Amas are having the same impact, but maybe that's because Manu was a once in a lifetime, once in a generation sort of midfielder or academy prospect. I think Collier's done enough that if, let's say it's Casemiro, let's say, we haven't managed to sign anyone else and somehow we've kept Casemiro, just for the argument's sake. You've got 10, 15, 20 minutes left in the game. Casemiro looks tired. Does anyone have any qualms about throwing Collier in 3-4 weeks in the Premier League? Because I think that's the level he's put himself at in pre-season. Like, starting him might be a stretch too far right now off the evidence we've seen. But if he was getting 10 minutes right now, I think everyone would be pretty comfortable with that. And I think Amas is the same. He might be a little bit further ahead in the pecking order because of the injuries that Luke Shaw and Malacia have got. But if he was in 10, 15 minutes in a Premier League game, would anyone be like, what are we doing? I think everyone would be pretty happy with it, to be honest.
If you was Ten Hag on the board, like, who would you buy, or what position would you buy more if we only had like one choice? Because it feels like we only got one person amount of money left in the piggy bank, and that's a shame for Man United to be operating like that, or feel like it's operating like that. When my Real Madrid is like, let me get him, let me get him, let me get him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
There's a story on right now that you are getting Mazraoui from Ajax, apparently the fees, or Bayern Munich, sorry, the ex-Ajax right back, who played with Antony and Ten Hag. But they reckon the fee's been agreed.
That makes sense.
I like this.
I think it makes sense. He's had a few injuries, so hopefully that's reflected in the fee. For me, the one position that we're going to need to fix, especially with what happened with Euro yesterday, is I think you need to get De Ligt over the line.
De Ligt, yeah.
I think you get a centre half over the line, and ideally someone like a De Ligt. That works for me. If you are happy with your centre half options, or we get De Ligt over the line, I think then that centre midfield option needs to happen next. And I would say like a Ugarte, I think, has to come in. But you can make a case for like 6 or 7 positions. Like left back is not sorted. You know, if you buy one midfielder, you can make the case for 2 because McTominay probably needs to go and Casemiro needs to go. And you
McTominay
Yeah.
McTominay definitely.
I think you're going to see some sales. I think Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka, I think McTominay. I'm hoping Casemiro because otherwise the wages he's on are going to mean that he's got to play. But yeah, I think you're going to see more sales from United this next 2 weeks, and then I think you'll start to see maybe 1 or 2 more signings get over the line.
You need Omar Barada to make some friends in Saudi Arabia quickly, because I think that's where you're going to offload someone like Casemiro, because there's not going to be many clubs that will stump up his wages.
I think they've made their mind up on Antony, but who's buying Antony? Who's going to give you any real money for Antony?
I heard a
rumor Besiktas are interested, but you don't want to sell. Turkish clubs never pay proper money for a player. Like we've got a player who we loaned to Trabzonspor last season. He scored 17 goals in 21, and they're currently trying to buy him permanently, and they are offering us the most stupid lowball figures. Like they don't pay a proper price for anyone. They'll try and loan your players for like 3 years. Before they actually then pay you like a knockdown fee in the last year of their contract or something. It's
Sancho plus Casemiro. So it's like, we got to undo all of the mistakes of the last 10 years.
It's not going to happen in one summer, is it?
Yeah.
No. I really like Ahmad, but I see yesterday what the issue is with him. Like once he starts feeling himself, he'll make showboating mistakes. Like he tried this cross yesterday to Rashford, and cool. Like he's your teammate. He is on the pitch with you. But that cross is impossible. Keep the ball. Go one-on-one against this dude on you and just delay and see if you get some help from Mount or overlap from Wan-Bissaka. And you was talking about Mazurari, whose name I can't pronounce, Lee. Like, it's going to feel sad to lose Wan-Bissaka, but I feel like Wan-Bissaka is a victim of Antony. Like, all the channels is like he doesn't overlap. He's not a modern day like wing fullback. But I've watched Wan-Bissaka overlap Antony the entire last season, and Antony ignore that option, cut inside, take a shot, or just dribble the ball to an opposing player and hand it to them. And it's like, how many overlaps does Wan-Bissaka have to do before Antony passes him the ball? So it's like, how is it Wan-Bissaka or is it Antony?
There was a moment with Antony I thought was interesting in that game where Antony cut inside and Arsenal had one defender on him and they had a covering defender because they knew he was going to cut inside. So he cut inside. There was one defender in front of him. There was another defender the other side in the space where he would go on his left foot. And so there wasn't an angle for a shot. Like it wasn't at all. Like you got to make the pass there because you haven't got the angle to try and get that shot off. He still tried to get that shot off and it went way wide. But I'm like, that's just like, if you're going to have that one track mind, you got to be clinical. You got to be good. You got to be like Arjen Robben used to be and do it at a speed. Whereas he cut inside, covering defender there, angle's not there to shoot, still tries it. It's like, just lay it off. Lay it off or turn back out and hit someone on the overlap.
It reminds me exactly not like Arjen Robben. That's what we have.
When people talk about a high IQ player and they do stuff on the pitch that no one else sees, and they're like, you have to go and check a replay and find it from 5 different angles because you're like, I don't understand how he's seen the ability to hit that pass from his position on the pitch. Antony's the lowest IQ player I think I've ever seen. Like, genuinely, like, what has he ever done where you went, oh, nice? Like, I don't think it's ever happened. Like, yes, he can come inside and he can score a spectacular goal on that, but what percentage is it of him coming inside on that left foot, of it going in or even being on target, because the ones I see seem to always be about 15 feet over the goal. Like, they just miss.
Bro, I'd be like, it's the funny thing about yesterday. Like, I watch all the games on TV, so it was as frustrating to see him live as it was on TV. You know, like like you flew thousands of miles to do the same shit that disappointed me last season here in a full half. That was crazy, Antony. And it's like, what have you been doing the whole preseason, fam? Like, you didn't like work on your shit. You like I I played in college. Like I would know what to work on. Like, how do you not like go fix that shit? How do you come back the way you looked yesterday? So it's like it's just sad.
Gonna go inside.
What do you think?
My battery's dying.
Yeah, I know, because the sun is on your face. I was about to tell you too. Lee, and then Steve, and I don't know if you watched the game, Alex. How do you think about Mason Mount so far in our preseason?
He looked tidy in that game, I thought. Like, he wasn't like spectacular, but he was doing like the little bits. Like, he plays at a good tempo, I think. You know, he's always looking to get the ball and move it on. I think if he can stay fit, it's worth giving him a season just to see if he can integrate before you fully write him off and ship him on. Because I mean, we've seen over the years, like, there is a good player in there, but it's just whether the fit's right and whether he can stay fit as well. So I think there's something in there. Like I say, he does the simple things, but he's not looking at them like, or not yet anyway, like he's going to be like a match winner for you at this moment.
I thought it was tied in last couple of games. Though.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. First of all, Jesus Christ, what did you all rent in San Diego? What type of a mansion did you just walk me through? That's number one. And but I did like him. I listen. I think last season, the little that he did play, he was very. I don't think he took it serious, and I feel like the 2 games that I've seen him play, he's been taking shit serious. Like, he's been sticking his foot in, making tackles. Like, I like the elementary shit that he's trying to do and thinks that's important. That is really important in a game. Like, he's linked up good with Ahmad. He's linked up good with Wan-Bissaka. He helped Ahmad score that goal in the game against Rangers because he's the one that saved that ball. He went back, stole it, dribbled it up the field, passed it to Ahmad, and then dragged the defender away from Ahmad. Ahmad cut in and scored. So I want to give him all the credit for that. And even yesterday, he was like, let me try to win this 50-50. Let me stick my foot in and everything that you guys are saying. So I really think he's determined. I can see the determination to do well this season in him. And I appreciate that because I feel like United lacked a lot of determination in important areas in the pitch from certain players last season, which killed us in moments when if you just on it, we won't give up certain goals. So I'm looking forward to seeing Mount. You have faith in Onana for this season?
Yeah, I thought it was poor in the Champions League, but in the league, I think the errors and the mistakes were being overblown. They were no more than anyone else, and he had statistically an absolutely ridiculous saving season. The fact that United are conceding 20, 24, 25, 26 shots every season. Like, we give Everton 24 shots. That's... I don't know at what level. Like, I don't think Ten Hag's going in his team talk and he's like, lads, 25 shots for every team. Just let's make it interesting. Do you know what I mean? This obvious sort of structural inefficiencies, which is why all of those shots are happening. Do we see a difference with different personnel? Do we see a difference with a different midfield? Because Casemiro, I've never seen a player check out more in my life than Casemiro did towards the back end of last season. Like, do you know when you lose your head at 5-a-side and you're like, I'm just going to try and get sent off? Like, Casemiro's playing Premier League matches where his whole vibe was, I'm going to get sent off and have a week off. Like, that looked to me like all he was trying to do at times.
I'm gonna
He
make a
was.
quick
ahead.
comment about Onana, just because I have to kind of like bring this into my little city, take on it. And I know Ederson is watching this podcast. Ederson watches the podcast all the time. And you guys made a comment about Onana chasing the ball. Ederson does that every game for Man City. So Eddie's watching. I know he wants to go to Saudi Arabia for money. Eddie, stay at City, and if we have people watching from Saudi Arabia, they should take Onana. Onana is the goalie you guys need. Don't take Ederson, take Onana, guys. Like, that's the goalie you guys want.
Hilarious. Listen, I heard that rumor. Is that true? Does Ederson
That
want?
is-
Why does
I think-
Ederson want out?
Well, I think like it's more about like what they're paying. It's like I think like he's coming. I think he's gonna be 30. He's 30, 31. He's getting a 5-year contract for like crazy amounts of money that he's not gonna get at City or any other team in Europe. So I don't. I think like it's financial reasons.
So all the money that Man City is illegally funneling into the
And we
you know,
cannot
into the
pay that
team.
to
They can't. You
Ederson. I
can't
know.
pay
No.
one of the greatest, the best goalkeeper you ever had in your history.
Yeah.
You can't
yeah,
give him some of that money.
Yeah, and trust me, I'm upset. I'm just upset as you. You sound upset. Just upset
I'm not
as you.
upset. I'm glad.
No, you
Let him be out.
sound upset. You sound upset. I know if I can feel it in you that you're like, I don't want Ederson leaving because I want him there. It's fun to see him, but now, yeah, I think like I will. If I was to make a bet right now, I see Ederson leaving by like in a couple of weeks.
How much does he get paid a week now?
I don't recall, but I think like he was looking at almost like 20 million a year, like, and that's his salary they're offering him or something.
So that's a new contract.
Like Saudi Arabia money. Like I don't know if he was. I think they were offering because
Oh.
also De Bruyne. I think De Bruyne was 25 or 26. Like he's just like way more than they
What's
make him at
City
City.
paying him? Why are you telling me what Saudi wants to pay him? What's City?
Oh, because
paying him?
I think City's paying them like around 10, 12, and they're getting like almost double the money.
Damn.
Rats
Yeah,
on
I
a
hope he
sinking
leaves.
ship. Everyone's bailing before those charges land.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like get out. Even Pep is not even re-signing.
Oh, Pep's staying 5 more years.
You really believe that? That's just you being a
No.
City fan, hoping that.
I think so, but it's just I don't see him going anywhere else. Like I don't think there's like a project. I don't think he's gonna go for the England. I don't think he's gonna go coach England and club teams. I don't think there's like another club that it's basically he already coached in Germany, he already coached in Spain. I don't think he's gonna go to Serie A. So I think like it's either another 3 years at City or just him playing golf for like 2 years.
You just ruled out all the other jobs because he already did them, and then you say you can't rule out the England job because he hasn't done it yet. And it's something that, especially if Man City get hit with them charges, the only thing that would clear his name in England after all that would be like to coach England to win a Euros and the World Cup, and then the rest of England would forgive like all these charges against Man City, like at least spiritually. Like Steve wouldn't give a fuck. Steve don't care about England like that.
Well, but I feel like
Why don't
England,
you, Steve?
I don't know why you guys don't want like a foreign coach. I feel like most fans from fans that I know, people that I know, if you're not British, like you're not supposed to be
Bro.
coaching England. I don't
Bro,
understand.
I just
it.
want a winning coach. I just want a winning coach at this point.
But isn't that like a feeling for a lot of fans? Like they want like an English coach.
I'm not sure. I think Premier League experience would trump nationality, to be honest. I think that would be more important. Knowing the Premier League, because that's where 95% of English players are. Me personally, I've covered why I don't support England loads. It just isn't a natural instinct. There's a big Manchester United and England sort of thing where it doesn't add up. But I go to a lot of England games. I'm fortunate with my job that I get to go to England games.
Unfortunately.
No, I don't. For example, I went to England, Scotland a handful of years ago, and I'm watching all the Scottish fans turn up, and they're really colourful fans. They're all wearing kilts. They've all got the little Scottish regiment hats on and stuff like that. And I'm looking at them and going, "This is cool. That's not me, but it's cool." And then I'm looking at the England fans, and I'm going, "Well, they're not me either. Like that, these aren't my people. Like I don't know what it is. England fans. England seems to be supported massively by small club fans. You don't see a lot of Liverpool fans or any Liverpool fans watching.
Oh, I get it.
There's not a lot of United fans watch it. City's got quite a big England following. Chelsea's got quite a big England following. It feels very much like a London-centric Southern thing, or Shrewsbury, Burnley. It's people like that. So when you had in the 2000s 7-8 United players in the team and all of Wembley singing "Stand Up If You Hate Man U," these aren't my people. So I don't give a fuck. And it's not. I'm not trying to dislike England, but like my authentic reaction watching an England game is, I'll watch it because I like football, but I don't have any emotional investment into what's going on here.
Yeah, and I like this guy.
Let me ask.
I like him.
I mean, it's almost like you say smaller clubs. It's almost like if those clubs can't win in their leagues or get a trophy, like England is their chance to root for a team that's in their country and win a trophy and then feel good, like we won something. And so I kind of get that. Just tell me a little bit before you go, like about your experience, like covering like the Euros, which was like a few weeks ago, and like being there and seeing some of the games. And you're also at the World Cup. So it's funny, you're not an England fan, but you have like a dream England fan's job.
Yeah.
So
I get in a mix, man. So against at the World Cup, I love I love tournament football because I love football and I get wall-to-wall football for weeks. So I love tournament football, but I go into it just to enjoy the football. I went to the Austria-France game. I enjoyed it. I went to the Serbia-England game just as like a neutral. I enjoyed the game. There were only 2 games I managed to get at the Euros. At the World Cup, I managed to go to every round except the final. And I absolutely enjoyed myself. I went and got in the mix with the dancing with the Senegalese fans. I went and got in the with the South Korean fans. Like I go and have a good time and try and experience football with all these different people. Like Argentinian fans are off their nut. I enjoy it. So I can just go and enjoy the football for the football's sake, and I'm not emotionally invested in. Like I think the way everybody watched that final as a neutral, the France Argentina, I watched tournament football like that. So I don't need my team or our team that I follow to be in there. I just enjoy the pure spectacle of the football.
I guess one question, like I love United. I love everything our great players did. And because of that, I want them to be ranked amongst the best in the world. So a part of why I want England to win like a tournament, because I think it adds to the lure of our players. Like when I think about Beckham or Rio, or Rooney, I don't like it when I want to be able to say those names and compare them to like the players from clubs that they beat or played against, but who also like when you like lining up medals, I feel like the other countries will always say, well, these guys didn't win a Euros, they didn't win a World Cup. So even though they were good and they won Champions League and they won the Premier League multiple times or whatever, they're not as good. So is that just in my head, or is that really a thing? Or should I just, but that's why I want England to win something, because I want our players to be in the best league, to play against the best people, and to come from one of the countries that is dominant in like world football.
No, I get that. I enjoyed watching Martinez be a World Cup winner, even though he didn't get many minutes. Like I enjoy watching United players succeed wherever they are. Yeah, and if anything, that'll be my default. I mean, in the World Cup, we won the World Cup, didn't we? Because we had Varane and we had Martinez. So going into the game, we knew we were winning the World Cup regardless. So it's a great place to be. But yeah, I think people do maybe over-egg, a tournament victory. They weigh it so heavily because how much luck is involved in winning a once every 4 years tournament. The country that you were born for, like Johnny Evans is never going to win a World Cup. That was never going to be the case, even though every single person on this podcast agrees he is the greatest player that's ever lived. So never going to get the recognition he deserves because he plays for Northern Ireland. So it's one of them, innit? Like, is it fortunate Messi was born Argentinian? Because if Messi was born Ecuadorian, do some of those comparisons go out the window a little bit? Maybe.
I think like if
For
he would have been
him,
Ecuadorian, it would have been better because he probably would have chose to go from Spain. You know, like I'm not Ecuadorian, put me in Spain, and he probably would have won way more with Spain than Ecuador.
I mean, if he was Ecuadorian, he belonged to a less racist country. Anybody got any more questions for Steve?
I think Pep could do Argentina, me. I don't know if they'd pay him enough, but I could see Pep at Argentina.
Hey, Steve, I have a question for you. Really quickly, can you hook up Ian with like seats like right front row? I saw his post on Instagram, and I was like, "Hey, fam, we gotta do like a GoFundMe for my boy because he needs to be watching right behind the goal." You know.
I think we hooked him up with some seats for San Diego, but I have no idea where they are.
Nice.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be better than the seats that I have. But those,
yeah,
Snapdragon's not that big, so you're not going to be that far up.
Yeah, it's not as big as Sofi. Let me tell you something about them nosebleeds. Like, so I never used to rate Jason Kidd. This is basketball, right? I never used to rate Jason Kidd. He won NBA Player of the Year 2 years in a row, and Lee's a big basketball person. But one time, somebody gave me tickets, or I went with somebody to a NBA game, and we sat in the nosebleeds, right? And Jason Kidd played that game, and from there you could see the entire pitch, and I could see why everybody was calling Jason Kidd the best player in the NBA, because you could see him control the whole game from that view. And so it's the nosebleeds, but it almost is like you're watching, like, you know, when the chalkboard in the dressing room and they have the buttons that the coach moves around to tell the players where they should be. Like, you could see like the coaching view from up in the nosebleeds. So, you know what? I mean, I'll still take some free tickets to have better seats. And Alex, why don't you chip in?
that's what I said.
Steve
I was
gotta
like,
help me out.
hey, I felt like, you know what? I like Ian. Like, I'm gonna buy 5 tickets for his show in San Diego, so he can basically like get closer seats, like, you know.
I'm speaking of nosebleeds. I'm doing Newcastle away for the first ever time in a few weeks, and you only get the nosebleeds if you go away to Newcastle. So
have you been in training? Because them stairs are going to kill you.
Oh yeah, I'm going to need an oxygen tank or something. It's going to be like playing Bolivia away in a World Cup qualifier or something in South America.
This is a perk of being a City fan. You go to a City game, there's no fans, and you can just walk all the way to the front. The stadium's empty, you can just walk in because we have no fans. You get all the way to the front. You know.
Says that.
Yeah, I like the way you
sit where you want.
Yeah, I like the way you CGI in fans every week to make it look packed, and also SoFi. Those nosebleed seats are dangerous. Like I work out a little bit, and I make sure I try to take care of my legs, and I almost fell every step going up or down to the bathroom in that stadium. So I don't know how there aren't like multiple lawsuits every event at that place. Like they just like pack the people in type of steps. We don't care if you make it to your seat or not. I really risked my life in those nosebleed seats yesterday.
I thought in America they'd have elevators going all the way for you guys.
Nah, but
no,
to get to those seats, it's crazy, bro. It's not sustainable. Steve, you got anything you want to say? I don't want to keep you for a long time. You just got to San Diego. You haven't been getting a lot of sleep. You've been doing a lot of tours. Anybody else want to ask Steve any questions?
You coming down to Saints? You coming down to Saints away on the 14th of September?
No, certainly not. With that work, the aways I tend not to bother because I coach my own team. Also, away games on top of everything else is an absolute ball ache. I have been down at Southampton. No, we did the last game of the season about 10 years ago against you guys. It's a long drive, that man. 6-hour drive. You're doing there and back in the same day. We didn't win. Like that's a lot. That it's 3 times long.
Bad.
Oh man, that is long. But yeah, it's interesting having Saints back in. My mate used to be the strength and conditioning coach at Southampton. He's moved on.
Oh, that's dope. How do you think United are going to do this season? I know it's early, transfer window ain't over, and I know what happened yesterday. That might have changed things, but you tell me at the beginning of the podcast about the buzz about the whole club and the board coming to training. And do you believe? Not do you believe in Ten Hag? For some reason, I don't know. This might be some romantic shit. I just think that he's going to end up being, and I kind of told you last night, a long-term coach for the club. But let me switch the question. Do you think, what is his plan this year as far as systems? You're good at systems. Is it changed from last year's system? Like, what was he trying to do last year? And please tell me, based on what you've seen so far, that's not what he's trying to do this year. And what is he trying to do this year?
I don't know, and I don't know. What I think he was trying to do is either build up with a 3-1-6 or 3-2-5. I feel like it was more 3-1-6 last season, and that didn't work for us. It worked for him at Ajax, and I just don't think it worked for us last season. And that could have been a little bit personnel, and it could have been a little bit tactics and shape. This season, I ain't seen enough. Like, it's so hard analyzing preseason when there's 10 subs at half time. Like, I don't think there's enough reps of the game for you to see the patterns that you're looking for. I find it really, I almost get like a headache with trying to analyze preseason because I'm just going to enjoy the game because it means nothing. They might be working on throw-ins today. The one thing they might have said is let's nail throw-ins today, and we'll have no way of knowing that was what they was working on. Or they might say, I want to nail playing out today. I don't give a fuck what we do. Just play your game. Play what you see for the rest of the game. But today, I want perfect goal kicks every single time. So you have no idea of knowing what the focus has been in training or that what the objective is that they're trying to achieve during that game. Or if it's just minutes and they've not even discussed tactics. So I think it's really a waste of everyone's resources to sort of overanalyze what we're doing in preseason. Right. First few weeks of the season, if it still looks like preseason in terms of how chaotic and unobvious the shape is, we're in trouble because that's kind of what happened last year. So I would hope that he gets the right people in. The injuries aren't going to be too drastic, which there's half a chance that they might be. Hopefully there's no more injuries. And that we can move the people on that we need to, so we can put a little bit of money in the bank. And then maybe, spend that money on some useful players towards the back end. What does that mean for how we do next year? City and Arsenal are going to set the pace, you would assume, unless everybody does jump ship from City or they get point deduction or whatever. I think Arsenal will be there or thereabouts. I think Liverpool are fucked. I think that Arne Slot.
Word?
Nah, not signed anyone. Big players entering the last year of contract. I think they're going to be way outside the top four. Chelsea have just had a sensational start to preseason without reading too much into it, losing to Wrexham. And who was it today?
Celtic bummed them last night.
Oh, yeah. So
4-1.
So, yeah, they've had a fucking phenomenal preseason. So let's hope that continues. So you're looking at, can Tottenham pick up? Can Aston Villa pick up? European football for them might be a bit of a problem, but I think United can not overly impress and maybe still come third fairly comfortably. So I think get inside top four, get back in the Champions League. Ten Hag seems to have a knack of picking up some sort of a trophy every single season, despite what's happened. So if he can make it free for free with trophies and get a Champions League finish, I'd call that progress and hope that the 12-month that the Ineos management have been in charge has given them a good look at every aspect of the club. So when you enter that window, they just go, anyway, there's your 5 signings and we are good to go for an actual title charge in a year or two from then, essentially.
All right. That's good. Well, fam, thanks for joining. Go enjoy the sun in San Diego. It's a lot of shit to do out there. That's dope. I wish I was out there too, but I'll see you out there Wednesday in the good seats. You feel me? And have some fun while you're out here. And good seeing you and the fellas last night. Tell them all I said what's up.
All right, cheers, Ian. Nice one. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, brother.
Cheers, man. See you in a bit. Cheers, boys.
Bye.
Speech, man.
You got to sign out. We're gonna stay on.
All right, cool. See you in a bit.
I like that guy getting you nice seats, man.
That's more than you're gonna do. You're out here, but you know what? It was fun. Like I got a lot of shit for those seats, which was fun on Instagram, which drove my algorithm up on that
I
post.
thought
So,
I
hey,
was
man.
I thought it was a bit until like I was like, no, it's not a bit. I was like, no, it's not a. This is real.
Yeah, but I should just get cheap seats from now on.
Also, like those seats always look worse on camera than they do to like the naked eye.
Oh no, they were bad. They were bad. but again, I could see the entire pitch, and I
Yeah, you
could
got
see
tactical cam.
You had a,
tactical
you had
cam.
a
That's
screen
what it
right
was.
next to you. That you're right under the screen. That's nice. You know, like I'll just watch from the
But
screen.
but I could also see the forum from those seats. I could see the new Rams stadium, not the Ram, the Chargers stadium. I could see home from those seats. You know, I could tell which way to go based on traffic. Home after the game from those seats, and you know, it was interview. And if you text me a message to God, I could have just turned around and told him from up there because that's how close
You
I
got
was.
the there's a new Clippers stadium down there as well, isn't there now?
Yeah, it's like too much shit. Like what's gonna happen, right? If the Chargers and the Rams play the same day, one, and I know they're not gonna play at the same time, but how are people gonna get out when another set of traffic is coming in? So they put everything in and the forum is there. What if there's a concert forum? Then there's a YouTube center, like which is
And
right
there's
there. You can walk out
LAX right there as well.
I mean, that shit is good luck. Good luck. $85 for parking, by the way. The price tickets used to cost to go to something is what the parking costs. You know. What's going on with Southampton and their preseason? Just to hear you played any games? You bought any people?
Yeah.
What's the deal?
Yeah, we played. We're 3 games in, same as you guys. We played one local game against a team called Eastleigh, who are they're in the 5th tier, the National League, managed by one of our former like club legends, Kelvin Davis, ex-goalkeeper. So we played them first game. We beat them 7-1. It was a walk in the park, essentially, just some minutes, some fitness, some nice finishes.
Team?
No, this is 5th division. Like I say, they're pros.
5th division.
You know, it's
Jesus Christ.
That's still professional. That's still professional in England.
Yeah, all right.
but they're like they're literally 15 minutes down the road.
Right.
So it's just like a nice local game. And then we flew out to we've been having a training camp in Girona, in Spain. And we played Bordeaux, RIP. We played technically their last ever game as a football club.
Oh shit! Yeah.
They lost their license a few days later. No, we beat them so bad they decided to not play football anymore. It's really sad to see that news come through actually, because they've been an established club in France for so many years, and it's such a big city as well, and a lot of history there. A lot of great players been through there as well. So yeah, it's sad that happened. But yeah, they're essentially a 2nd division team. They were going to go down to the 3rd division because of their finances, and then they lost their license completely. But we played them, beat them 3-1, fairly comfortable for most of it. Some nice goals in there. Then we played Montpellier in Girona as well again yesterday. They're a top level team. They've been in Ligue 1 for quite a while now. Pretty much ever present. Beat them 3-2, but it was a super open game. But we've been mixing it up. We've had some teenagers in the team, giving them some minutes, like some clubs are, because not everyone is fully fit to play yet. So we've been playing like a solid team for 60 minutes, like not fully first team starters, but we play one team for 60 minutes, and then another team comes on for the last half hour, and it seemed to have worked okay so far in getting players up to speed. We got a young player, Tyler Dibbling, who he was tearing shit up for for our youth teams, and then Chelsea bought him. He's the guy who went to Chelsea, hated it, and came back like 6 months later. But he's in the first team getting minutes now, and he scored a great goal against Montpellier. So
You say he went to
yeah,
Chelsea. What do you mean?
Chelsea signed him from
And then
us,
he's
from
like,
our
"No, I'm out."
academy. Yeah, and then he came back like 6 months later. He's like a do-over.
Yeah, where would he play? He didn't even have like a locker room to sit in, much less a place to play on the pitch.
Yeah, he didn't enjoy it, so he came back. But that was like a couple of summers ago. But he's looking good. We signed a Japanese right back from AZ in Holland called Sugawara. He's already scored a couple of goals preseason, got a couple of assists. He's looking good. A couple of young centre backs we bought, Nathan Wood and Ronnie Edwards, have looked good. We're looking a bit light at the top of the field.
Is Shea out?
Shay's gone. Shay's in Torino now. He's in Italy. He's living life in Italy. I wish him all the best out there. He stuck by us when we got relegated. And then his contract ran out.
Barely, right?
Was that?
Barely, right? Because there was a minute when he was trying to bounce, right?
There was rumors because he was in the last year of his contract, but he stuck it out. He played well for us last year, but I'm kind of glad that he decided to call it when he did, because I didn't really want us going into the Premier League with him as our first choice striker, because I think he's one of them classic players who's like a little bit too good for the Championship, but not quite good enough to do it in the Premier League on a consistent basis. Like, he has good games in the Premier League, but he's not going to play well for you week in, week out. I hope he does well in Torino. I hope he scores goals in Serie A. But we've been linked with a bunch of players. The most concrete rumor we've got now, which apparently it's almost done, is Ben Brereton Diaz, the guy he was at Blackburn. He was playing for Chile in the international tournaments. He's like got a British dad and a Chilean mum. He went on loan from Villa because he went from Blackburn to Villarreal, and then Villarreal loaned him last year to Sheffield United for the second half of the season. And
we were talking about him on the podcast.
Yeah, he scored 6 goals in 14 games for Sheffield United, and that Sheffield United team was one of the worst teams the Premier League has ever seen, quite frankly. And he scored 6 goals in 14 games for them, which, I think that's some going considering how bad they were. So he's played with Adam Armstrong, one of our other forwards as well, at Blackburn for a couple of seasons before. So they've got a link up, and apparently he's only going to cost 8 million. So, I'm all for this deal if we can get it in.
Get him immediately.
Yeah, he's physical. He's a hard.
Hilly, what happened to Liam Delap? Because I think he's a good striker, and you guys wanted him, but it's like
he went to Ipswich.
But what he was like, just like because I know like the offers were like the same, but he was just more like he just decided to go there.
Yeah, he chose Ipswich, which there's not much in it. We're 2 promoted clubs. He obviously may have preferred their manager's plans for him over ours. Our manager doesn't ever guarantee. He says he doesn't guarantee any signing ever that they will play like as a starter. It's like, I'm signing you, I like you, but you're going to have to earn your place. Maybe Ipswich, you got told.
Your manager sounds like a terrible liar. You got to learn how to lie. Get people. You want them to join, and then they're trapped. And they're like, you want to tell them that before. There's no incentive. You're just helping the other team.
Yeah, it's a test of character, isn't it? It's a test of character. Do you really want to come sign for the club and play for the club and earn your spot on the team? Because, maybe he was promising other things at Ipswich, or maybe he just liked the sound of what McKenna was doing better than our manager. It is what it is. And also, I think he would have been a risk. He's never played in the Premier League really before. Like, he's played a few minutes for City, like in bench game, coming off the bench in games and stuff. But he's only really done it in the Championship. Whereas, Brereton Diaz, he's done it international level. He's done it for half a season at Sheffield United.
Too, right? So. I think he's way cheaper than this guy.
Oh yeah, he's half the price. Yeah. He's half the price. So I will take that all day long, because we've still got some other areas to strengthen. The player who I really want us to get, who it's up in the air at the moment, is a guy called Matt O'Reilly from Celtic. He scored and got an assist against Chelsea. He got an assist against City the other day. He's a really good player. He's 6'2", centre midfielder, physical, can contribute in the attacks. Our manager managed him at MK Dons a few years ago, but Celtic are playing hardball because obviously he's a quality player. They don't want to lose him. Atalanta are in the mix as well. So we'll see if that one gets done. But I'm happy with the business we've done so far. Like we're getting it done fairly early. Yeah, there's a nice positive buzz around the place. I've got some tickets already. I'm going to Newcastle away, like I was saying earlier. First game of the season, I'm there away at Newcastle. I'm at the Edinburgh Fringe at the time, so I'll be in Scotland. But it's only like it's like a 2.5 hour drive down to Newcastle. So I'm going to go to that one. I've got a ticket for Man United at home, 14th of September. I'm sitting right by the Man United dugout as well. So if we start playing well, I'm gonna start getting some heckles in at Ten Hag. I'm gonna try and get Ruud van Nistelrooy riled up. I'm gonna be like Martin Keown when Van Nistelrooy missed that penalty against Arsenal. I'm gonna be jumping on his back behind the dugout.
Get Ruud a yellow.
But I'm interested to go to that.
Keown a card in that game, right?
Probably, because it wasn't good behaviour from Martin Keown.
Yeah.
I think there was a couple of Arsenal players that probably got booked in that incident. But no, I'm looking forward to just these, having the buzz of these games again. I enjoyed the Championship. I went to a lot of games in the Championship, but it's way more exciting, Newcastle away or Man United at home than it is for Rotherham away or Hull at home. I mean, Hull beat us at home, but I enjoyed the Championship, but it's nice to feel at least somewhat relevant again. People on the transfer rumor websites are actually writing about us again. Like I say, I can select my players in fantasy football again if I want to, if I'm brave enough to put any of them in my team. Just feels relevant to be back in the Premier League, even if we are going to win way less games.
I mean, that's dope. You guys are doing a lot. You're not fucking around. You're taking this serious. Based on like I didn't even know y'all did that much. Much less play one preseason game. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. A lot of business. And you made me think of something. And I was gonna like say it and then ask Alex, because I want to know what Man City's been doing. I feel like they've been doing nothing except losing to AC Milan and Pulisic. But damn, what was it that you triggered that I have now forgotten? So maybe it'll come back. So
we got some more good. So just a quick one. We got some more good preseason games coming up as well. We're playing Lazio and Getafe from Spain. So two strong games.
When?
In the next couple of weeks.
Right.
I don't know if they'll be on TV. They are not going to be popular enough to be on any channel, as far as I'm aware.
I was just at Comic-Con, right? So I didn't get to but if I go on YouTube, like I think I was watching the Chelsea game. It wasn't live, but maybe a day later, they put the whole game on YouTube.
Okay.
So I was watching Chelsea versus who did Chelsea play? I think the one game they didn't lose, it was like a tie. So I was watching the full
the Wrexham something.
Yeah, the Wrexham one was like 2-2, right?
The Ryan Reynolds team.
Yeah, and then isn't there a channel showing like the US tour of like, because they did that last year. I could like just turn on the TV, but I haven't had a chance to.
Well,
to see like
they recently changed it, because I remember when this used to be called like this team it had a different name. It was, I forgot what the tournament used to be called, like some, but now it's, and I'm losing it. But this tournament they just changed the name. But I know what you mean, because last year like they used to have the games like 2 days later, the full games, but now they're changed to FC something. I forgot what it was, to be honest, but they changed the name for the tournament.
There's a name, but yeah, I gotta. There's a way that I could watch these games. I know they're not just playing them; they're like broadcasting them. But because I watched like, the Arsenal Man United won from Jersey. I watched Villa last year. I watched Brighton Hove. I watched uh, I watched a bunch of games like so we got to find out where they're at so I can check them out. Because even Villa's back they're like in the Midwest, so they're playing some people. Liverpool is out here, so it wasn't just on the Man United app that I watched those games. I watched everybody. So what's Man City doing? Like you guys out here, you somewhere? Are you in the States?
Yeah, I think like we're just selling we're just selling shirts. Like I think we just came to like show the shirts that we have and have Jack Grealish take pictures with Haaland, and that's pretty much it.
I got a confession to make. You have the best worst shirts that you've ever had.
You have the
Like
best worst shirts that we have.
Worst shirts you've ever had. Like your shirts are normally terrible, but
Yeah,
these are
they're
the
not.
best
But
of
they're
your
not
terrible
as they're not
shirts
as
ever.
terrible as from the terrible shirts. These are not sort of the least terrible.
Yeah, they're less terrible than normal. Like they're
I
decent.
kind of agree. I kind of like this one, and I think we're gonna make a bet for the what is the community shield, so I can get my like the least terrible shirt.
Bro,
No, I don't think
bro,
City has done any business. I
bro,
think like
did
they're
you see
just.
my seats for Arsenal versus? You think I can afford to
That is
bet you
true.
for a jersey?
That
You
is
could bet
that
me,
is true.
but you'll see if you get
That is
that
true.
jersey.
You'll probably
I
get
have
me like
no problem reneging on a
AliExpress
bet.
one. Yeah, like AliExpress $10 ripoff that you find somewhere. Yeah. No,
Yeah, I'll
I don't
get you. I'll
think
get you.
City's doing any business. I think like they're mostly
Are they
even the
scared of the charges? Is that why they're not doing nothing? Be honest.
I think like it's more I think like no, this happened before when Pep didn't extend because he hasn't extended. I kind of like actually like because if you have not extended, how can you ask for like players if you're not? We don't know if you're. I do feel like he's gonna stay, but I think like that's why basically like it's kind of hard to bring like players when there's 1 year left because the whole aspect of a lot of players coming to cities they want to work with Pep, but if you're not if Pep has not announced that he's staying longer. I think like that's what basically it's kind of like there's kind of like a hold of like signing players.
But doesn't that hurt? Like the longer he takes to extend, doesn't that
Yeah,
hurt
a little bit because for
City's
example
season?
like a player that this is actually like this was kind of confirmed from Bayern Munich, like people in the know that basically City tried to approach Musiala to come because eventually City sees Musiala as like the replacement for De Bruyne, and eventually him and Foden playing together. And it's actually a possibility because his contract is end. I think he has contract on 2025. Musiala, it's basically so it's like a good like okay, let's go get him, let's go buy it. But from his side, from his camp, it's like I don't know if I want to go to City if Pep is not gonna be there because I can go to Madrid or I can go to like a different team where I know kind of what's happening. So that's it's kind of like a little annoying when coaches do that because similar situation
Right.
happened to Liverpool last year with Club when he announced it. Like some of the players were like, I don't know if I want to go to Liverpool to rebuild, like start a new process instead of going with Club.
Right. I mean, like Pep is like shooting himself in the foot because Arsenal's lost by 2 points last season. So I do think Arsenal needs to get a 9 in, like a real 9. Stop doing this false 9 with Havertz. Like unless Havertz has the season of his life, and I know Arsenal scored a lot of goals last year, they need, there's just those games you need to get those points to just beat this City team. But besides that, I've seen some of like City's younger players play, and in some preseason highlights, these guys look like full-on professionals.
No, yeah, I think like we have like some ballers in the team. Like they're not getting minutes because it's hard to basically get ahead of the players in front of you. Like you're not gonna get minutes in front. I mean, that's the reason Palmer left. Like Guardiola knew Palmer was like a good player, but it's like Palmer, you're not gonna get minutes in front of De Bruyne, Bernardo, or Foden. Are you cool with basically chilling on the bench? And Palmer's like, no, I'm outie. Okay, let me go to Chelsea. And right now there's like 3 players. Like there's this guy James McAtee, plays Sheffield United, great player.
Mhm.
I don't see him staying at City right in the bench. I think like he's either gonna go get loan or be sold, because he's at that level that he should be getting minutes. Similar with Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob is a winger, great player. I don't see him again. I don't see him stay. Maybe him. I can see him staying and just
Can
waiting
I
it
say
out.
something blasphemous?
Go ahead.
Like just watching Oscar Bob last year in the preseason, that dude might be better than Foden.
I don't think it's blasphemous because like I think like depending what you're seeing, like as a winger, yes, he's
Yes,
dribbling,
as a winger.
dribbling. I think like he's probably it's gonna sound blasphemous as well. I think like currently I see him as top 10 dribbler in the Premier League, and he's not even a starter. You know, like out of I can name you 10 players who like I think for sure he's better than Antony dribbling. I think he's probably
Bro,
I think
we're
he's
all better than Antony
I think he might
dribbling.
be. I think Sancho is really, really good, but I think like Oscar Pop gave him like a run, and I can see him being as effective as Sancho. He's just so good at such a quick. He has like so much skill that he's just. I don't understand how like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old can have that much confidence on himself, because
I feel
it's a little annoying because I seen this guy play like, and I'm like, dude, just pass the ball. We have players open, like he dribbles him. I'm like, oh, you know what? Don't trust Alex. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Just do your thing, because you're
yeah,
used to seeing City just passing the ball quick, but he gets the ball and he's like, I'm about to do my thing. He has that confidence, which I like that.
yeah, he found Haaland yesterday. I mean, you lost that game to AC Milan, but he was impressive. And I think City scored another goal with some guy on the left. I ain't never heard of this dude before. He like disrespected somebody out of their shorts and got the ball over to the other side, and they got a goal that way. So I don't know what that dude's name was,
There's a
but he
story about
was
that
good.
guy. He's Mika Hamilton. He was actually a first season during Guardiola. First season during Guardiola, he was a ball boy, and there's like a funny picture because he's a ball boy, and Guardiola's talking to him like he's a player. He's like a 12-year-old, like 11-year-old, and Guardiola is basically telling him like it's hilarious. And now like basically like 7 years later, this guy's on the team with Pep. I'll find that, but it's super cool.
No, that's dope. I feel like you said something about it's tough for players to break through, and the young players know that. So it makes them step up their game. Like they know that the threshold for breaking through the city into the city team is at a higher level. So training and mentally, they have to get there. You know what I mean? So like when you see them now trying to break through, it's like I'm trying to break through to play with the treble team. So I got to raise my level. So automatically it makes City's younger players, they've already been recruited well, and now they're being trained well. And now to get into the team they want to get into, you have to be on another level. So I'm not even surprised that I'm seeing like these amazing young people. And I feel like
And also there's
FFP.
there's something too that like basically like City's academy, like they plan this, like these people have planned this since like before Pep came in to play Pep style, possession football, like fast touch and stuff. So when a player breaks through, I think like that's what Lee mentioned like a different time, like that was like the FA model, like the football association to do something like that to every youth team. So all these guys, even though they haven't been coached by Pep, they understand what Pep is asking because other coaches are trying to imitate what Pep wants. So it's a little easier to, I mean, I wouldn't say easier, but they know the tactics.
Yeah, it's almost like they got like a La Masia thing going on over there. So if you go there, yeah. I'm trying to think. I guess ain't much going on. I'm not gonna try to push it and make some shit up. There is one thing that I definitely can't remember what I wanted to tell Lee, and I would definitely remember it as soon as we press stop record. I know that for a fact. I'm not even gonna try to remember it. I'm just gonna like, hey man, we missed it. But anything you guys want to throw in or say? I like talk whether it's like how many left backs do Arsenal need before they realize just it's ridiculous. First of all, this transfer took like the whole transfer season for them to just bring in one player, and it's in a position that they have multiple players for. Like, how much of a degree better than what Arsenal has is this Fury guy really gonna be for them to not like, hey man, get Tony. Why are you spending this much time on a and money on a position you kind of got?
They haven't been playing with like proper left backs though, really. Like Kieran Tierney is just injured permanently. So you can't bank on him. And then last year they were playing like Tomiyasu there some games. He's not a left back. They're playing Zinchenko there sometimes, and just wasn't convincing. So I feel like they're gone for what they think is an upgrade. I still think there was other positions on the field where they needed to spend that money instead. I don't know how tight they're going to be on FFP, because I think a centre forward and a centre midfielder to play alongside Rice, it were more pressing concerns for them, in my opinion. But I mean, they could still strengthen in those positions. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, I would have looked for those two positions first.
They did have some good-looking kids yesterday. There's some good-looking kids that kind of knocked the ball around us in an embarrassing way yesterday. So one of them was definitely a midfielder, but I don't know if he was like a 6 or an 8, but he was super intelligent and was press resistant and was not afraid to move the ball around the pitch. But you said you think they should. What position was Smith Rowe? They haven't allowed Smith Rowe to play in so long or so sparingly that I forgot what position he was.
He's left wing.
I heard recently, like basically like some, I forgot the team, but some club offer like made an offer for him.
Yeah, Palace and Fulham were both after him, but it looks like he's going to go to Fulham.
Oh, so he's like, okay. I heard like Arsenal was rejecting it, so like just let him go, guys. Like, come on.
No, I think they're going to let him go. Unfortunately, I think he was a part of like the Arsenal revolution, and I don't know. Sometimes I think Arteta's too smart for himself, and he makes huge mistakes, and this is going to be one of them. So if you guys got anything else, if not, I guess
just random, just because Lee mentioned that Southampton beat a team from the 5th division 7-1, reminded me of like Bayern Munich. You guys know like Bayern Munich plays like this team every year. Like there's like
they play amateur. They play like actual amateurs. Like these guys have jobs.
But what is up with that? Like every year like Bayern plays the same team of like in. I think like first year, I think Tuchel beat him 27-2 or something like that. And this year, a company, they scored 14-1. And I'm like, why are you guys torturing these people, man? Like that's just a torture, you know?
It happens all across Germany. All the Bundesliga clubs do it. They have these random friendlies against teams where they annihilate them. But I think it's like some sort of partnerships. I think because it's always played away. So I think it's just a chance for those small clubs to have like a big attendance, to get some money kind of thing. It's almost like a giving back to the community
like
type thing.
Like a charity, like torture. Like we're going to torture you for charity. And people are like, okay.
It's like a backhanded charity.
Something like that.
Kind of something on those vibes. But I mean, that would lead into the point I'd like to make closing, which is, I mean, it's exciting that football's back. I love preseason. I love, sign-ins, new kits, all these things. But I think the big thing is, I mean, I know we've mocked some teams like Chelsea that got pumped in some of their, in their friendlies, but, I think preseason is one of those things where it's like, don't get too high with the highs and don't get too low with the lows, because ultimately none of it matters until the first day of the season. And, we're ridiculing Chelsea. They could come out the blocks like firing in that first league game. So, yeah. I mean, I've coached preseason as well.
That's why I'm ridiculing them now. So because if they get good, I won't be able to ridicule them. But now if they do bad, let's get it in now, fam. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I know like for City, like it's not even preseason. It's like the first 10 games of the year. It's just like for us, that's still preseason. Like Guardiola, Guardiola teams, like for us preseason, it's bad. In the beginning of the first game, you get kind of better. But December, that's when we're good,
your preseason teams aren't even City teams though. It's basically your youth team plus Haaland because he doesn't go to the Euros, and Ederson. Like you've got one of Emil Heskey's sons in your tour squad. That's making me feel old. You've got 2 of Heskey's sons in your academy.
Damn.
Like
Do they have more skill than Heskey?
He's got 2 sons. Well, I mean, if they're playing for City, probably. I mean, he was an underrated player. Like he did a job. It was almost like he was a blunt object, just holding the ball up and doing the nasty things.
I mean, he did a job. Just that just says it for me. Like technically, he was lacking. And that I'm into technical players more than like when I played at like let's say when I say play, like benched at New York Institute of Technology, we had these very good technical English players that didn't make it or got dropped from their club teams, and so that their coach from New York Institute of Technology brought them to and gave them scholarships there, and it's because of players like Heskey. They weren't physical enough that they were done at that stage. Now I think they would have more of a chance because England is the vibe has changed, like the rules of but Heskey's not gonna I mean? Like
I'm not gonna hate on Heskey. He gave me one of the best footballing nights ever in the England 5-1 win away to Germany. Like he's scored, and I think he got some assists in that game as well. I mean, Michael Owen ran riot, but yeah, I mean, he did his thing. He knew his limitations, I think, and he made the best out of the skill set that he had within, and he had a fairly good career. But yeah, 2 kids. He's got 2 sons, Regan and Jaden, in the City team.
And just to say, I'm not knocking Heskey. It's just like when you're using a Heskey, you're overriding a midfield of Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes, and Beckham to just go long, to hope that, to go to this one guy, this one-dimensional guy, to hope that he could beat 4 defenders and get the ball to Owen. And then basically you're giving the ball back to the other team to turn a classic midfield into a bunch of defenders so that they can't do what they really can do. So that, it's hard for me to love a Heskey. You feel me? It's tough. But yeah, I guess we could wrap this up, everybody. Hope you're having a good summer. Y'all checking out any Olympic soccer? I saw some. It's for some reason, it's more intriguing than I thought it would be. The Women World Cup, the women's Olympic soccer, I always take seriously. There's like, it's a bigger deal to me.
Do you take it as seriously as Canada do, though? You're going to send any drones up?
How long has this woman been doing this?
But well, apparently the men's team have a previous in it as well. There's been some stories saying that under the old coach John Herdman, who's now Toronto FC manager, they were doing it back then as well. So it seems like it's something that was rife in Canadian football. I mean, I used to coach out in Canada. I didn't see it when I was there. I know some of the people involved in it, which has been interesting. Yeah, I know some of them.
Hit them up and see what they say. Tell us,
I haven't spoken to him in a long time, so I don't think it's the best of times to be like, hey, what's up with this stuff in the news? So yeah, I found that all quite funny because I don't think there's even really that much you can gain from flying a drone over a training session. Like there's so little of the session that actually matters in that context. And also it's like you can just get that stuff from scouting and watching games. Like scouting legally, you can find out enough of that info. Yeah, that's not in the legal way though. So yeah, I think it's just it's all obviously ethically fairly bad, because it's not even like some opportunistic stuff. It's pretty, they're going out their way to be unethical Because when I've worked as a scout, I did some opportunistic stuff.
Oh, yeah?
There was one game, I can't remember if I mentioned this before. There was one game where I was watching this game. I was there to watch one team because I knew I was working for a team that were going to play them in 2 weeks. They were 1-0 down at half time. I went round the back of because this is like small, like lower league football. I went round the back of the stand because that's where the toilets were, and the toilets weren't far from where the dressing rooms were. And there was a window that was open, and I could just hear the manager talking all his tactics. So I just pressed record on my phone and held my phone like up just below the window and took in the whole halftime team talk. And I sent that on to the team. I was like, here, have some info.
Lee, you're hired.
But,
You're hired.
That was opportunistic. I didn't plan
this is how
that.
we lose
was...
you from the podcast. So, like some soccer aficionado hears this. I'm like, this is the type of scout we need. This is our human drone.
I didn't go looking for that.
Dressed
though.
up
That
as
was...
a bush.
That was just
and
there.
Planted yourself outside.
But I don't even know if it made a difference, because what made a difference was the game I watched and then reported back on. This is how they play. Which it's amazing that Canada would do this to that level, to the point where they know if they get caught, it's a problem. Like the manager got banned. She's been banned from football for a year.
That's not that long.
It's I don't know. If that was my job, I wouldn't want to not do it for a year.
I think that's worse than Pogba doping or getting done for doping. Like you spied, and like you said, you didn't have to, and she gets a year, and Pogba may or may not have taken something, and it may have registered it, and it's like he gets 4 years, and he's done more for football than this coach. I don't know.
Yeah,
that don't sound like balanced justice. But all right.
Yeah, it's so it's murky times. But I'm going to watch some Olympic basketball this Friday. I'm going to Canada versus Spain because it's only a couple of hours over the water for me. But the football's been good. I watched Argentina Iraq.
I saw the highlights. Yeah,
there were some great goals in that game from both teams. It was it was fun watching that one.
Yeah, I've seen like a bunch of women stuff. Like I saw Spain women play. Who were they playing? Colombia or something like that. And Colombia, it was close. Like they were down 3-2, and they pushed to get a goal. Then they got a player sent off. So then they still tried to win it, but they just couldn't, and it was pretty close. So yeah, the Olympic football, I fuck with it. Yeah. Well, good luck, Alex, to losing the rest of your preseason games.
And Community Shield probably too.
Including the Community Shield. And United, please, no more injuries. Everybody out there, I don't know what teams y'all root for, but good luck in your preseasons too. Take care of each other. You know what I'm saying? And have fun with y'all banter. And we love you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Let me just say one thing. I'm taping my latest special at the Comedy Store in La Jolla the weekend of August 9th through 11th. So if you want to pull up, check out the taping. Alex just mentioned that he's coming. Yeah, come through. Let's have some fun. And let's have, let's enjoy. Let's do that. All right, y'all. 1. Boom.